So, Chris, what do you think about the attack on white Christian males today?
You think there's an attack?
You don't know that there's an attack on white men?
No, who's getting attacked?
Oh, did you say no, it's not happening?
No, yeah, in what way? Yeah.
So you really don't see white Christian men, all men are under attack, really, but you don't see white Christian men under attack?
I don't know. I feel like everyone's I feel like everyone feels like they're under attack these days. I think we're just in sort of like a volatile time. And it's like I hear people saying stuff about, straight white guys and stuff and us being the source of all evil. But I think it just feels like a growing pain that we're going through.
They teaching it in the schools, critical race theory. They're blaming white people for everything. They take no responsibility for themselves. Are you okay with that?
I just don't think that that's everyone's opinion. I feel like the people pushing those ideas are in minorities on both sides. And I think eventually cooler heads will prevail.
So right now you're okay with white men being under attack and blamed for everything?
I mean, I guess I'm not okay with it, but I'm not that worried about it. I feel like white dudes, we're still doing pretty good.
Nice.
I think we're going to be all right. Yeah.
I hope so.
Are you worried about us?
I'm very concerned. And my concern is that if white men don't start standing up and speaking up and getting involved, that they're going to allow the people of color to turn America into a ghetto.
You think so?
Look what's happening. You don't see every time, especially with the blacks, every time they take over, they turn it into a ghetto.
I don't think so. Walk me through that. What are you talking about?
Do you live in America?
Yeah.
You do?
I live in New York. Yeah.
Oh, my God. They have literally turned New York into a hell state.
No, New York's
especially
great.
New York City.
Love it here, man.
You love the hell that you live in?
Yeah, man.
Really?
This is great. Yeah.
Why do you love the hell you live in?
It's awesome. I like New York. I spent most of my life in Philly, but my parents are from New York. I grew up outside of New York. And I've only been living here for like 2 years, but I like it, man. I like being in this environment. It feels like I'm in Queens. It feels a little bit like Philly. I like seeing the people. It doesn't feel dangerous to me.
So you love walking down the street knowing that some black guy may walk up behind you and rob you?
I guess I don't think about it.
Or sitting at a cafe.
I've walked through terrible neighborhoods in Philly. I've walked through nice neighborhoods in Philly. I've never been worried about getting mugged. I don't know. It's never been a problem.
Are you like a big guy or something? Is that why you're not worried?
No, I'm not a big guy.
Are you intimidating when you walk?
Like just enough. There's no way that could be true, but nobody messes with me.
So what do you think about in America today? Most black people are out of control. Not all, but most. They're angry, they're violent, they're robbing and raping and carjacking and they brought they brought an insurrection upon America under this Black Lives Matter thing, tore down statues and monuments and set businesses on fire and tore down the amazing statue and put a thug like George Floyd up, an unemployed drug addict with a criminal record. They made him the hero. You don't think the blacks are out of control by doing all those things?
No. I mean, I guess it just feels like an uncomfortable statement. I feel like everyone's kind of out of control. I mean, the pandemic was a stressful situation.
But how about blacks?
I just feel like people are pissed off. What?
But how about blacks killing cops and killing one another?
I guess it just doesn't. What?
It doesn't
feel like just a black thing to me, I guess.
Who else is doing it?
I feel like everyone's getting involved.
But
We got some white boys getting in there and fucking some stuff up there
but
too.
who's
You know,
leading the way of all the races in America? Who is leading the way to destruction? Which race?
I don't know. I think
What the?
I don't see. I guess I just don't see things in those terms. I feel like we're America. It's up to us, all of us, to figure this shit out. We can squabble over, all kinds of stuff that I think impede our ability to improve our situation, or we can start to come together. But I think we're just in that phase. I think every country is going to have to deal with it at some point, where they're just reckoning with a history. People are frustrated about their lives and opportunities, and I think there's just a lot of like existential angst out there, and I think everyone kind of feels it. And I think that's where the tension comes from.
But we have given the blacks everything they asked for the last 70 years. And they only gotten worse instead of getting better. When would enough be enough for the blacks?
I don't know. I think that's a pretty complicated and dynamic situation. What do you mean they got everything that they asked for?
Back during the so-called civil rights movement, we allowed them to go into the white cafes, go to the white schools, live in the white communities, and we thought that was going to be enough. And then we gave them welfare. They said, okay, to the blacks, we told them, you can have welfare, but you can't have a man in the home. And they said, okay to that. And then they wanted affirmative action. We gave them affirmative action. Then the black men wanted the white women. So we gave them the white women.
Jesus Christ. Dude, holy shit.
and then they wanted the blacks to run the government. We gave them Barack Obama. And then they wanted black people to be in our other government. And everything just going to hell in a handbasket. And now they want reparation. We're giving them, in some cities, a couple of cities here in this country, we're giving them reparation. Chris, when would enough be enough for the blacks? When would they stop it? When would they say, okay, white people, we had enough?
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the premise of the question. But I guess I feel like if there was a community that was struggling, white or black, and I think there's tons of white communities that are struggling too. Don't you feel like as a nation we have an obligation to those communities that are struggling to help them out in some way?
No.
Now, what the shape of that help?
We've already helped the blacks. They only got worse. When you help people the wrong way, they get worse.
What about rural white communities? They're struggling too. They're falling apart. They're getting worse. What do we do about that?
Because they're starting to act like the blacks. They're having children out of wedlock. They're dancing and singing, and they're doing nothing.
The black community falling apart is black people's fault, and the white community falling apart is black people's fault too.
No, it's because they're acting like the blacks. If they were to, what? So you say you disagree with the premises that we're giving the blacks everything. What part of that you disagree with?
Yeah.
Did we give them affirmative action?
We did.
Did we let them into black universities by lowering the standard?
I feel like what?
Did we let them into white universities by lowering the standards?
A tough one. Well, here's my feeling about affirmative action, I guess. And this is also like, I'm a comedian. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I don't know what you were hoping to get out of this interview. I don't know I'm not going to have any policy prescriptions. That's for sure. But I feel like affirmative action is a little bit of like a stopgap measure in the sense that like it's sort of in place of making like real investments in the education of minorities. So black people suffered for a really long time and weren't getting the sort of access to education that they needed. Now you kind of have two options, right? You can make a massive investment into trying to right that wrong, or you can give them a couple extra points on their college application. I think the affirmative action was kind of the easy way out. And then it becomes obviously like a messy thing, right? Where it's like, of course, it seems kind of unfair and weird because it is, because it was sort of the easy way out. That's, I mean,
Yeah.
again, that's how I feel about it. I'm not, you know, I don't know anything.
Why were the blacks doing better prior to the civil rights movement in education and everything, and it became worse once the civil rights movement happened? Why were they doing better before that, and now they're doing worse?
I don't know.
Have you ever wondered about that?
I haven't put too much thought into it. No.
Do you have white guilt?
What do you think? What do you think the explanation is?
No fathers, angry mothers, and too much government in their lives.
Okay. And why do you think that happened to like some rural white communities? Same thing?
Yes. You have to destroy the family by destroying the man, then you take over the women and children, and the rest is easy. But let me ask, do you have white guilt?
What? Do I?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so.
Are you afraid of black people?
No.
Are you able to be honest with them? Are you able to be honest with them about the way they are?
What does that mean? I mean, I'm honest with them. I don't feel like when I'm around black people, I'm being dishonest.
So if they call you racist,
do you feel like you can?
If they call you racist, and they say you're to blame, it's slavery, it's Jim Crow, it's this, would you tell them they're lying? They had their own problem. They had nothing to do with the past.
Yeah, but I don't run into that much, to be honest.
Oh, you don't hang around with them?
Yeah, I guess I just don't see it that. I see it online a ton,
Right?
And that you get fired up. But I don't know. In my day-to-day interactions, I don't, and I interact with a decent amount of black people. I don't really. That never really comes up.
Do you love white people?
Yeah, yeah. My parents are white. My brother's white.